when it came time to go into surgery, I started getting really nervous and I started getting really anxious and I started having a lot of anxiety. And I tried to leave the hospital before I was in the bed and I was like, I'm going home. And I tried to get up and they had to like make me lay down. And they're like, you can't get up. We're having this baby today. My dad had to come in and he talked to me. And, he was the one that was there with me when I had my middle son, and he was the one that kind of like walked through that experience with me, even though, things weren't the way I wish they had been with him during that time. He was the one that was there and knew everything that had happened. And so he came in to try to reassure me that everything's going to be okay, and, to try to relax as best as possible. And so, they took me back and we had surgery and Andrew was born, and I made the decision then that like I'm not having any more children. Like this is it for me. I'm done. And I had a tubal ligation done, and I remember had felt so anxious during the entire surgery. And then as soon as Andrew was born and they took him out, and his dad went with him to the nursery while I was still in surgery getting the tubal ligation done. And I remember it was at that point I relaxed and I felt so peaceful. And I think because I was, again, making a decision for myself, I'm like, I'm not having any more children. I'm not, I didn't ask anybody. I was like, and the doctor was like, are you sure this is what you want to do? And I was young, so they didn't want to do it. But because I had already had 3 children and because I'd already had 3 cesareans, that he was willing to do it. And I'm like, do it. And I remember just, having a decent conversation with the doctor while he did it, because I felt so relaxed at the time. And I remember when everything was done and they took me back to the recovery room where I got to see my family and they brought Andrew to me. I was like, oh, it's, everything's going to be okay. I feel like everything's going to be okay.